I think 4 credits would work. I've had students take a 4 credit course. In fact, I had one of the research semester students take one of my 4 credit courses, and it all worked out pretty well. That the research semester really, really keeps you very busy.
So there's sort of two limiting factors here. There's physical time, and there's what are going to be the responsibilities for the PI that you want to work for. And depending on what the project is, they might require more or less flexibility in your schedule. Okay, so yes, it does depend a little bit on, how good you are at managing your time, but seriously stick to a 3 or 4 credit class. And probably not like the hardest thing you can find in your schedule.
I think organic chemistry with 5 credits would be too much for the research semester. We'd probably have to get overload permission, and it's not recommended. The research semester really, really keeps you very busy. Yeah, you could, I mean, you could probably get away with taking just 12 hours of the research semester and then working if that's really important.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sometimes you have to be in the lab at all hours, which obviously would be bad for your work schedule. Sometimes you can set aside Wednesday, Thursday, Friday or something, and that gives you all day Tuesday or whatever to work.
I think that's going to totally be a question that you need to ask a potential PI about, because that's totally going to vary by professor. Some are probably open to letting you have a little bit more weekend and evening hours, especially once you've gotten trained and they know how you work, and but it's totally going to depend. If you're working on something where there's safety issues, so there have to be more than one person in the lab, obviously that's going to be more restricted.
The answer to that is no. Not necessarily. It might be one student per mentor, but some mentors take on more than one student. So it all varies. In which part of that's actually good, because if sometimes if you apply to a particular program and somebody else has already been accepted, they may have room for you. So it all depends. Yeah, I think most researchers are actually open to the 6 credit option, where you only have to do about 18 hours a week. Possibly not everybody, but that's something you're going to have to talk with to the person you're reaching out to. But I think most of them are okay with that.
One thing that I would say is probably a safe bet, check on the website and see where your potential PIs are located in terms of their labs and their offices, because chances are good if their labs and offices are at SciTech, the work is going to be at SciTech and vice versa. At least my assumption was going to be we were going to pay attention to the most recent application sent in by a student. So if your plans have changed, the other thing is you can always just email us and say, hey, I forgot XYZ. Please, be aware of that.
Just because you have 3 PIs on the application doesn't mean you are restricted to those PIs. You can go through the list and ask anybody. Although I would ask somebody that has at least some of the similar research interests. I wouldn't worry about it too much if you don't have, if your first 3 choices don't pan out. Just go through, find somebody else, and you're not restricted to the names you put on the list. What happens is the names that are on the list are the PIs that we reach out to on our end, kind of, and say that you're interested in them, and so that gives them kind of a heads up. But from your end, you can apply to anybody, quite honestly. Email me or Dr. Sutherland, and we will gently try to email these people for you. So that's also an option.
I will say, I absolutely did not have a full appreciation for the sheer deluge of emails that professors get until I became one. And so oftentimes if you don't hear from them, it is not because they are ghosting you. It is because they got 57 emails that day and yours slipped to the bottom. So yeah, if you don't hear from them in like 3 or 4 days, try again. Don't email them 12 hours later and be like, you haven't answered my email from this morning. What's wrong? That's a little pushy, but yeah, give it a few days. If you haven't heard from them, email them again. If you haven't heard from them a second time, email me.
Probably by first or second week in April. We kind of have a deadline of April 3rd. Although if the class doesn't completely fill up, we might take a few more on a rolling basis.